So this morning our Way to a Wonderful Life message is titled Prosperity, Writing to Angels. Now all month we've been focusing on prosperity. Now prosperity means a great deal of good in all things. It's not just focused on money, but it's focused on a prosperous joy, a prosperous happiness, a prosperous peace. A prosperous life means that we have a good life. We have a life with grace and ease, and that we feel the joy of living every day. So many people get up in the morning and they feel like life is a test, but we're not being tested. We've been gifted with this thing called life, and so we want to express that gift in our own unique way so that we can realize our way to a wonderful life, because there's not just one way. We must find our own unique way. And so as we go through these prosperity lessons for the month of August, I'm presenting different ideas, different methods, so that we can all find our own way. And we may even find that the method that we listen to today is our way. But most likely we will modify it in some way, because our own expression of it will be unique to each and every one of us. This week I found something that is very intriguing and also something I had not heard of before. But since it is from the great Catherine Ponder, who I respect wholeheartedly, she's a great unity minister. She had a church here in Palm Springs, California, for many, many, many years. And she's written a great number of books on prosperity and also on the prospering power of love and the secrets of the ages, taking that ancient wisdom and bringing it forth into a language and an understanding that we can all connect with. And also this work that we're talking about today is taken from the work of the mystical Emma Curtis Hopkins, who was known as the teacher of teachers. And so I'm presenting it so each and every one of us can look at it and think, well, is this something I could do? Is this something that appeals to me? Is this something that might help me bring forth that good desire of my heart so that I can realize that better thing, that good life, that abundant life that Jesus said, I have come to tell you that you can have life and you can have it more abundantly. And we know that avenue in which we express that more abundant life is through our faith, So from the great Catherine Ponder's book, The Prospering Power of Love, we can read, I want to share with you a special method for getting your thinking into divine order promptly and surely. This mystical prayer method can add years to your life as it relieves you of unnecessary worry and friction. It can work wonders in your relationships with others, and it may even turn enemies into friends, and it will surely add immeasurably to your own mental and physical health and wealth. So it's just very intriguing, That's this method that she's talking about. It's like she sets it up so we want to know what it is, because most of us, I believe, have had our time of worry and anxiety for various reasons. And for some of us, our worry is about relationships, someone close to us, a family member or a child. And for others, our worry is about our health. And for others, wealth or finances. So we must relieve the pressure of this worry and friction in our mind in order for the guidance and direction and the right ideas to come to our awareness, so that the Spirit can move through us with that idea that is ours, that will prosper us, that will heal us, that will bless us. So let's continue with the wisdom of Catherine Ponder as she tells us how this method works. She writes, you can employ the special method of love secretly with words. True words are angels. True words are alive with good, and they produce good. But there is a definite method by which you can employ words and produce angelic results by thinking of the person you are concerned about as having an angel or higher self, that is, spiritual self, to whom you write. By writing to a person's angel, you establish in your own thinking a harmonious belief about that person. You radiate your harmonious feeling to that person subconsciously, and you also recognize and bring alive in that person's consciousness his own higher spiritual self. There is a special power in writing to the angel of a person with whom you cannot reason or help in the usual ways. There is something about written words of truth that reaches to the judgment seat of such a person, getting past the emotional blocks of vanity, pride, deception, intellectual arguments, and penetrating their God self. The written word is powerful. We know that our word has power, and we learn this throughout the ancient scriptures of the Holy Bible and the Torah, and even before that, all the way back 1,500 years before Christ in the Bhagavad Gita. And this simple wording, Catherine Ponder, is taking us into the realm of mysticism, that is the realm of faith and spiritual power that is unknown to those who are shackled to the material world and lack faith in the great invisible, the Spirit, God, or life itself. Her book provides numerous testimonials of people who have used this method successfully for a variety of issues. Enough testimonials, I might add, that prove it to be a reliable method for those willing and open-minded enough to make it a part of their daily spiritual practices. Writing to an angel is a method to relieve our mind of stress and anxiety and to place the responsibility for manifesting the good we desire on our higher self or angel, that indwelling God intelligence within each of us that has far more power than most of us can imagine. Has far more power than most of us can imagine. So many of us walk around not realizing that this power is within us. Faith is the strength of the soul inside, and lost is the person without it. So we must cultivate, foster, and nurture faith. And how do we maintain our faith? Through thought. Thoughts create faith. Our thoughts about a thing create our faith in it. Our thoughts about a thing create that belief in us, and that belief is validated in our life experience. Just as we read in the ancient wisdom, as within, so without. As a man thinketh, so is he. So we want to realize, each and every one of us every day, that our thoughts about a thing, start thinking towards the good, start thinking towards the miracle, start thinking towards the manifestation of the good desires of your heart, and start imagining how you feel when you receive it, when you're experiencing it, when you're enjoying it, when you're in the activity of it. So let's continue to understand more about this method from Catherine Ponder. She writes, I first learned of the secret prayer method from studying the mystical yet practical writings of Emma Curtis Hopkins. So she got it from Emma Curtis Hopkins, and you're getting it from me. She was known as the teacher of teachers in the spiritual field at the turn of the century, that is the 19th century, and taught this secret prayer method in her master classes in Chicago and San Francisco and other cities around the country. 50,000 people studied with her at the turn of the century, long before radio, television, or other mass media methods of communication were available. That's an amazing thing. I mean, they were drawn to her consciousness, drawn to her teaching. The Holy Bible also contains numerous passages for invoking angel powers in times of need. Catherine Ponder writes, Abraham promised, Jehovah, before whom I walk, will send his angel with thee and prosper thy ways. That's from the book of Genesis 24:40. If writing to a person's angel in a general way does not seem to get results, sometimes it is more powerful to get specific and to write to the angel of that person's particular need, such as writing to the angel of protection, the angel of healing, the angel of love and marriage, the angel of harmony and happiness, the angel of wisdom and guidance, the angel of prosperity and wealth, or the angel of spiritual growth and understanding. This is all something that each and every one of us, we know that it's all in mind. It's done unto us as we believe, Jesus said. So as we take these ideas into our mind and we realize that we're speaking to that higher self within us, that indwelling presence of God within our own heart and mind and soul, that image likeness of God, that part of God incarnated within us, so that we can realize that we're part of God, we're life, God is life, we're intelligent, God is intelligent, we have power, God is power, and we are spirit. Spirit means mind, spirit means energy, attitude, personality. So we know we are those things. But we also know that we must turn each thing over to that higher power, and that higher power works through our higher self, not our human self, not the weakness of our nature, but the strength of our nature, which is our faith. And just as Jesus tells us, I of mine own self can do nothing, So we know if he could declare, I of mine own self can do nothing, we must declare the same thing and realize that whatever it is that we seek to realize in our life, to experience in our life, that it's going to be a power greater than we are, an intelligence greater than we have, a spirit that moves through everything, that knows how to do it and bring it to pass and bring it into our life experience. Now, Catherine Ponder includes in her book testimonials regarding financial increase and even great wealth being demonstrated using this method, both by herself personally and a businessman who used the method. Let's remind ourselves at this point that this is practical mysticism, connecting to our spiritual self to that higher self of another. And now we learn how to personalize this method. As Catherine Ponder writes, the word angel means messenger of God. So do not fail to write to your own angel, she writes, when it seems that your life is filled with defeat or when you are tempted to criticize and condemn yourself. The office of the angels is to guard and guide and direct the natural forces of mind and body, which have in them the future of the whole man. Emma Curtis Hopkins writes, the angel of his presence accompanies every man. This high leadership is every man's heritage. He need not fear dangerous days or vicious circumstances, while he is aware that his angel goes before him, pleads his cause, and defends him. Now, it is interesting to note here that the great healer teacher Joel Goldsmith also writes of the presence that goes before us, preparing our way, as we recognize its presence. This I have personally experienced, and I know it's true, but we must spend time in the silence of our mind to condition our mind to perceive it, to be aware of it. The Spirit is always available, as the poet says, closer to us than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. Closer to us than breathing, nearer than hands and feet. And so we must take it into our mind that God is always for us, always for us. Never, never let ourselves feel that condemnation or that criticism either from the world or from within our own mind. Let's not let ourselves self-depreciate ourselves, self-depreciate our that image likeness of God that we are. And let's realize that as the intelligence of God clothed our spirit in human form and put us on this planet Earth to experience life, that we're here to experience it in the faith and the love of God. Just realize the generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. That's from Proverbs 11:25. The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. So we know that as we pray for other people, that prayer is moving through our own mind, our own heart, and our own soul, and lifting not only them up, but lifting us up. And we don't pray to make somebody do something. We just pray to affirm that they are in the image and likeness of God, that within them is that greater love and happiness and joy and peace, that greater intelligence and power and spirit that is God. And we allow them to feel that truth within their mind and heart and soul through our written prayer. So writing to an angel is truly just writing our prayers out, realizing that we're writing to our higher self, our spiritual self, not our human self, because I of mine own self can do nothing. So we must turn it over to that power within us that's connected to that greater power that knows what to do and how to do it in all things. So as we take that into our mind and we think about it, and we realize that there's this angel is really just a messenger of God that's coming to us to say the good desires of your heart are available, so affirm that it's so. Know that it's so. Believe that it's so. And before you know it, it is so. Catherine Ponder writes, when challenges arise, say to yourself, I have nothing to fear. My guardian angel goes before me, making right my way. Never expect your angel or that of another to honor any request that might hurt or harm. Be willing that something infinitely better than that which you tentatively want will come as you use love's special method. This will open the way for your good and for the good of all involved to manifest in an unlimited, satisfying manner. For invoking love's special method, meditate often upon the promise of the psalmist, no evil shall befall you, no scourge come near your tent, for he will give his angels charge of you to guard you in all your ways. That's from the book of Psalms 91, 10 through 11. No evil shall befall you, no scourge come near your tent, for he will give his angels charge of you to guard you in all your ways. So when we start thinking about these words and we start thinking about what we just learned from Catherine Ponder, and we start thinking about why is it that we don't pray more often? Pray without ceasing, we read in the scripture, but pray means to be conscious of our words, be conscious of our thoughts, be conscious of the images that move through our mind, be conscious that God is present, that good is present, that the right ideas come to us because we believe the right ideas come to us, the right amount of money to meet our financial requirements comes to us because we believe that the right amount of money comes to us from whatever source it may come, from whatever it is that we may do or be a part of the activity of bringing it into our experience. But we must be willing to have that faith. We must be willing to do it. We must be willing to shut out of our mind anything that contradicts the truth, that it's done unto us as we believe, and that we can ask and we can receive and we can seek and we shall find and we shall knock on the door of our consciousness and make a demand for a greater success, a greater health, a greater wealth, a greater joy, a greater creative expression, and we shall realize it. The great Dr. Murphy says, accept nothing mentally that does not fill your soul with joy. Accept nothing mentally that does not fill your soul with joy. And just begin to realize that the greatest teaching ever given is Christ in you, the hope of glory. Christ in you, the hope of glory. And what is this Christ? It is that part of God's intelligence, God's spirit, God's power made available to each and every one of us. We all have it. We all have it. It's just we must recognize it and we must realize that it is there and it is available. And we must keep the faith. Keep the faith. The mystical earnest home says, quench not the spirit. Quench not the spirit. We are not to be ashamed of our trust in God, nor are we to deny the inner light, that is the light of the Spirit, that lights every person's reason to the ultimate reason of all. Spiritual emotion is common to all people and is one of the ways through which the Spirit works. When this emotion is blocked, it hinders the currents of life from flowing, and the result is stagnation. So we want to realize within our mind, our heart, and our soul that it is the Spirit that moves through us. It is the Spirit that's always seeking to open a way up for us to have that greater good, to realize that greater good. So let's imagine ourselves realizing and thinking about what it is that we want to experience. Imagine ourselves having it. Ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find. Let's make those words words of truth for ourselves. Let's realize right where we are today that everything works to our good for those who believe. For those who believe. Let's look at these words from the great Dr. Joseph Murphy. This is what he says, and let's realize that this is the truth for all of us. So just take it into your mind right now. This is the truth for me. Say, this is the truth for me today and every day. I know there is only one source, the life principle, which is God, from which all things flow. It created the universe and all things therein contained. I am a focal point of the divine presence. My mind is open and receptive. I am a free-flowing channel for harmony and beauty and guidance and wealth and the riches of the infinite. I know that health and wealth and success are released from within and appear without. I am now in harmony with the infinite riches within and without, and I know these thoughts are sinking into my subconscious mind and will be reflected on the screen of space. I wish for everyone all the blessings of life. I am open and receptive to God's riches, spiritual, mental, and material, and they flow to me in avalanches of abundance, and so it is.